what's happening with the litigation with with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder?
That is an arbitration, and the arbitrator will decide.
So everything is still contingent upon the arbitrator?
No, I mean, really and truly, nobody anticipates that there'll be an injunction. At worst, there might be a claim for damages.
And when do you anticipate the finality of that?
I think there's a schedule that probably would get a determination sometime in May.
Sometime in May. So,
what's good, family? Smash the like button and subscribe. So we just heard there from Bob, 1 million-year-old Aram, giving us an update and exclusively leaked. Listen, ain't no one got this update. It's exclusive. Leaked, yeah? Leaked audio. Fresh from... Now, let me give my man his props. Shout out to, obviously, LDBC Goofazoid Barbershop for the leaked audio oucher. Team Fury murking off. And actually, you know, again, let me say, again, respect to Barbershop, because whilst he's an LDBC Goofazoid, at least he actually does proper reporting. I've always said that out of all the LDBC Goofazoids, he's the highest IQ. He's probably coming in like 80. Jabba the Hutt, Blue Balls is like 10. Blue Balls makes an article up, makes a news story up himself, and then a few days later is arguing about where the source came from. No joke. Anyway, so yeah, shout out to Barbershop for getting this exclusive, actually doing some research. We've all been wondering for a while what's going on with this case. We've heard from the horse's mouth. It is somewhere in some goofy court system, not official court system, in some goofy arbitration system. May is apparently when there's going to be some judgment. However, obviously, Team Fury have got lawyers on this, debating back and forth with Wilder's team. I still find it hard to believe, if the truth be known. I can't imagine this is going on and there's no press about it. Do you get it? I've seen there be massive news cameras and whatnot following people in and out of court or whatever. But then again, it might be some, given C19, I guess it's probably over emails, isn't it? Or over Skype. I doubt that, given how back the court's at par, I don't think they're going to be in there doing it. Most likely it's over email or one of them Zoom things. So that's probably why there's not much coverage. Either way, we've heard there from the horse's mouth telling us May is going to be some sort of resolution, but most importantly, Team Fury's lawyers who are working on this and debating back and forth or negotiating back and forth with Deontay Wilder's team have said, because obviously when you work with a legal team or lawyers full stop, they know the business. These will be the top, or certainly they'll be experienced business negotiators or whatever you want to call it. They know what the likelihoods are. Now, lawyers are known to lie, but in this case, it's unlikely. The lawyers ain't going to tell Bob, expect to be or the worst case is, lawyers normally are quite good on the worst case stuff. They like to cover their backside. Especially once, listen, lawyers might lie to you when they haven't won your business already. But once you're on their payroll, once you're paying them, they've got no incentive to lie to you. So Bob Aram's lawyers, who have no incentive to lie to him, have told him the worst case scenario is we have to pay Wilder some money. Bottom line. And that's a significant update, because obviously the LDBC Goofazoids have been saying, oh man, Deontay Wilder, he calls the shots and he should demand $40 million. Otherwise, he just says no, the fight ain't happening between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. That's what their man was saying, no joke. The way they've been carrying on, LDBC Fanon, LDBC Jabba the Hutt, all their man there, I've basically, it's quite amazing to watch the psychology of it all. They've been coming on, talking about and saying with confidence, with almost arrogance, as if Wilder's in a real strong position, as if he holds all the bargaining chips. In fact, Blue Balls and Fanon have both said he holds all the chips. And they're carrying on as if, literally, oh, you know what? If you don't give us 40 million, then you're not fighting AJ. That's how they feel, seriously. Because they haven't got a clue about what's going on, they have no business acumen whatsoever. They have no level of IQ. So they don't know anything. So they're genuinely believing Wilder, they were saying, no joke, they were saying Wilder needs to demand $40 million and guaranteed to fight the winner and this and that. I was like, what? Your man will be listen, let's not forget what happened to Usyk. Let's not what happened to Usyk. Usyk, yeah? Let's not forget that. Usyk gave it a big one. He was saying, listen, and this is the crazy thing. Eddie Hearn, I have to tip my hat to Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn, as we know, is a fair businessman. Even if he's all up inside the black book, he's still a fair businessman. He said before anyone, Wilder, you'll get some change. Usyk, you'll get some change, and then AJ will fight you for undisputed once he's washed Fury. And you'll get some change. That's what Eddie Hearn was saying. You happy you'll get some money. Settle down, but you'll get some money. There's plenty to go around. Word for word, Hearn said, there's plenty to go around. Everyone, settle yourselves, and let's just get this AJ and Fury on. Meanwhile, and if Wilder's team are smart, they'll listen to this YB's video and they'll take heed from it. Because we've already seen the blueprint for what happens when you try and get in the way of Mr. Black Book. Hearn said to Usyk, settle yourself for 9 months. After the 9 months, you'll get a $5 million payday in the meantime, and you'll get the AJ fight. So you haven't lost anything. All you've lost is a year. You don't have to fight anyone for this fight. Just sit down somewhere for a year. Maybe even fight a bum to keep warm. Keep your shoulders warm. Fight a bum. No problem whatsoever. Oh, no. Not Usyk. Usyk. Very so much. I want AJ. I want the money and AJ. I want AJ. Very nice. You like? Your wife is nice. How much? I want AJ. I want money. I like AJ. That's what he was saying. Eddie was like, AJ, money? Just sit down somewhere and be quiet. Eddie Hearn said 100%. Confirmed. Sit down and be quiet. You got the money and you'll get the fight. Just settle yourself. I like. Very nice. Me money. I like money. I want AJ now. You heard the recording there. That was a leaked one. Banging on about he wants AJ now and it won't do and the step aside won't do. He wants step aside and to fight. He wanted it all. He wanted it all. Next thing you know, Mr. Black Book, don't take much. Mr. Black Book drops the tape. WBO, listen, when you're in the Black Book, yeah, do you think Hearn don't have the tapes on the WBO president? Is that what you think? Eddie Hearn all Eddie Hearn has to do is send a message to the WBO president, and he knows what time it is. Yeah? Yeah? 100%. The WBO president gets a text message, and next thing you know, WBO have dropped Usyk. They've dropped Usyk out of his mandatory, out of his guaranteed step-aside money, out of his guaranteed AJ fight. And that AJ fight, by the way, would have been for undisputed as well. So he was actually getting more for his money. He was guaranteed to fight for undisputed. And guaranteed to get step-aside money. He gets dropped from the step-aside, dropped from the mandatory, dropped from everything. And instead, Joe Joyce thrown in front of him. A brick wall. You might as well, no joke, you might as well have a brick wall in front of you. Usyk went from guaranteed AJ fight, guaranteed undisputed fight, guaranteed step aside money, guaranteed $10 million plus on top of the step aside. And now, he's got no money, no guaranteed unification fight, no nothing, and Joe Joyce, you must fight. Do you understand? In fact, one of the things I forgot to miss out, or one of the things I missed out was, he had no fight obligations. He was guaranteed all these things, step aside and AJ and undisputed fight. He was guaranteed all of that, and he had no obligation for it. That was just, he was being given all of that for nothing. Now, to even get a look into anything, he must fight Joe Joyce, which in my opinion, I'm not being funny, many people disagree with me. People are telling me Usyk's going to wash Joyce. In my opinion, Joyce is probably, next to AJ, I think is the hardest fight in the division. Because with Fury, you're not going to get your bell rung. Fury, show me when Fury's done something like that to someone like Daniel Dubois. That's not a joke. That just doesn't happen, you know. We saw what happened. Tyson Fury's cousin went in there and we saw what happened to him. He ended up on his back with his legs in the air. About to get, you know what I'm saying? About to get missionaried. That's I'm next on by Daniel Dubois. And that same man who murked Fury's cousin got left in a mess. Yeah? Got left all messed up. His orbitals was all mixed up by the Joe Joyce, by the Juggernaut. So I think he's up there. Unless other than AJ, he's the next hardest thing. In terms of brutality wise. Wilder, he's soft. I think Usyk could beat him anyway. But Joyce, put it this way, even if you disagree that Joyce is a top, he's up there with Fury, he's up there with Wilder, he's up there with Ruiz, and now you've got to fight him just to get a look in as well. That don't give you nothing. And that's a low money fight. So anyway, I've gone a long way explaining that, but the reason that context was important was that Wilder's in exactly, or in a way, he's in a worse position because he doesn't even have a mandatory now. He has a loosey-goosey contract. And the point of this is, Wilder, everyone said, Wilder, sit down, you get some money. Eddie Hearn said it, sit down, you get some money. Bob Arum's now saying, at worst, don't forget that, at worst, we'll pay him some money. Again, that's at worst. For all we know, the judge, the court can rule, the contract expired, and it's peak for you. You get nothing. So it's all this, everyone's looking to gamble these days. And to be fair to Wilder, you know what, with C19, I think the gamble might be alright, but we just don't know what went on. If, for example, Team Wilder agreed to delay the fight, because remember when, there's no doubt, Team Fury we've got the tapes that Team Fury publicly came out and said, we want to delay the fight. And what we don't know is what happened behind the scenes. If Wilder and Team Wilder, behind the scenes, co-signed that move, as in Team Fury emailed Team Wilder saying, yo, we want to delay this until there's fans. If Team Wilder agreed to this delay on the pretense of making more money, they've got not a leg to stand on. Because you agreed to delay it, it didn't come to pass in the end, and now the contract's expired. Whose fault's that? Now, it could have gone the other way. Maybe, we don't know. Maybe Team Fury, if Team Wilder have a chance, or a good chance, if they were saying, no, we don't care about the fans. We don't care about the money, we don't care about the fans, we want our rematch before the clause is over. If they've kind of stood on that basis, I think they'll probably win the case, which means they'll get paid off. But if they haven't, and I'm not being funny here, this is the thing, I don't remember Wilder speaking out. In that period, I reckon he was probably happy, thinking, yeah, you know what, I'm happy not to do anything, I'm happy to carry on twerking, and I'm happy to carry on twerking and taking pictures with my guns, trying to recover my masculinity. And in the meantime, we'll wait for this C19 to blow over and I'll make more money. That's what I think he was thinking, because he wasn't protesting, was he? Where's all the social media posts from July to September, or July to October, of Wilder saying, you're ducking me. F the fans, F the capacity, F the most money, I just want my belt back, I just want my rematch clause. That's what we should have really been seeing, if his team wasn't just sitting by. But by the sounds of how messy Wilder's team are, and how greedy they are as well, you know what that little gremlin's like, Winkle. Do you think Mr. Gremlin Winkle, the 539, do you think he's happy just to sit there and let money off the table? I don't think so. And in a way, Team Fury may have been a big trick from the jump. Because we know what Team Fury is like. They'll play all kind of tricks to get out of stuff. If they don't, and Wilder's team look as if they've been caught lacking. They've been caught on their lack nicely, because they weren't saying nothing. And what I mean by it could have been a big plan is, Team Fury could have said, you know what, let's kind of lull them into a false sense of security. Oh yeah, we're going to fight you, all right. Let's just wait for the fans. Let's just wait for this to blow over. Knowing we've only got to keep saying this for 3 months and the contract's done, and then we don't have to fight him at all. That's what it kind of feels like to me. The way that Team Fury have just moved on from the Wilder thing. Think about it. If you genuinely had Wilder set in your mind, we know what Fury's like. As in, when he wants to fight someone, it's magically enough it gets done, doesn't it? There wasn't no problems in the first 2 Fury Wilder fights, and there was no money on the table. This is arguably the biggest one, isn't it? Given how we know what rematches are like, when someone's had a big loss, like AJ versus Ruiz or whatever, historically speaking, this is the biggest fight. And given how well the UFC's been performing, or in general, pay-per-view events in the time of C19, if Team Fury really wanted this fight, you best believe it'd have been on. But not only that, if Fury had his mind set on Wilder, why was he so happy to jump off the bandwagon? Especially when you start hearing excuses like, when Fury said, oh well, Deontay Wilder, he disrespected my he said he disrespected my character and whatnot. Where have we heard that before? That's the same kind of lame excuse we heard from Wilder himself. It's magical, isn't karma magical? What goes around comes around, baby. When AJ wanted to fight Wilder, oh man, you know, Eddie Hearn, he called me a hillbilly. He called Shella Winkle. That's what they said was one of their top 5 excuses why the fight can't happen. Now it's the chickens have come home to roost. Now Wilder's saying the same thing. I mean, Fury's saying the same thing. He just, I can't get it out, but you know, that's what he's been saying. Wilder disrespected my, I don't know what he said. He disrespected my character and all this other business about the gloves. And we know them excuse. I mean, that's not an excuse. And I said it myself. If that's really true, you fight someone in spite of that, don't you? Wilder should have been saying, AJ, I'm going to push your wig back because you called me a hillbilly, or your team called me a hillbilly. What Fury should be saying, I'll give you dodgy gloves. I'm going to put my gloves in the air on the camera this time and whoop you in the head with them. Fighting, we're not talking croquet here. We're talking boxing. And historically speaking, look at Lennox Lewis and whatnot. When you have beefs, they want to get their hands stuck in. Mike Tyson with Razor Ruddock. They want to get in there. They're not. You didn't hear Mike Tyson or whoever say, "Oh, he called me this, so I'm not going to fight him." It's still this weak, new era 2021 business, fruitiness, goofiness, hella goofy looking, sounding dons. Yeah. So anyway, all in all, the bottom line conclusion on this one is it's looking kind of peak right now for Team Wilder. Team Fury don't have no reason to lie at this point, in my opinion. As in, for Bob Arum, and it sounded quite genuine. Listen, I haven't got a dog in the race in this case. I couldn't care less. And you heard my opinion. I actually would have rathered this fight to have happened in 2020. I think Fury and Wilder should have fought in July. But Wilder's team, from the information I've got now, were happy to sit by and be greedy themselves, and now they've ended up with nothing. There's a common thing going on here with greed. Usyk got slayed. Wilder should just be happy getting step aside. Because at the moment, the way it's looking, Team Fury's lawyers have said, the worst case, it will be some money, hush money, and nothing else. Worst case. That's not the likely case, or that's not the average case. That's the best case, or the worst case, sorry. The best case is the judge just throws it out. That's the, you know what I'm saying? There's probably, the average case would be a small payoff. Or, I don't know, but either way, the worst case is paid off. Wilder hasn't got all this leverage. And rightly so, arguably. Well, to be honest, I don't know, actually. Well, no, that's a lie. As long as, like, for example, I can see the judge might say something like, in fact, I don't even want to speculate what the judge may or may not say. End of the day, May apparently now, we've got to wait too, so another 2 months more or less. 6 to 8 weeks, we've got to wait now. So we're going to find out. But again, finally, don't be greedy. Take the money and be quiet. You messed up, you sat down, and you didn't make a sound. In this day and age, courts, look, we've seen all what's happened. We know how much courts love social media. If Wilder had been out here publicly demanding the fight, he'd have evidence now. I'm not sure that his team have been demanding it behind closed doors, because he hasn't. If you can't, you know what I mean? Like, if you can't put the energy out there publicly that there's something going on, Wilder wasn't ringing any red flags, was he? Not until it was too late. He wasn't anyway. He wasn't ringing no red flags. He was sitting there not even posting for about 6 months. That doesn't tell me someone who's in crisis or someone who's desperate to get a fight on. You was happy sitting there doing what you was doing. Now it's all expired. You know what I'm saying?